The United States cannot stand by while such atrocities are happening in Nigeria and numerous other countries. Something has to be done. I am asking.
Now that we have the attention of the U.S. and the President Donald Trump, Nnamdi Kanu, as a smart man that he is, has decided to cash in on the opportunity. Well, he wrote a letter to Donald Trump, not just a letter, a strongly worded letter. And the agenda is very simple. Now that his attention is on Nigeria, he can as well focus on all the anomalies going on in the country. Well, I do not know how possible it will be to get the attention of Donald Trump, because he has quite a lot of things on his plate. And, you know, for the US to be reacting to the Christian genocide in Nigeria, this is not something that they just woke up and decided to do, as much as a lot of people have their reservations about, you know, whether they have genuine intentions or not. But they have been collating data. They have been, you know, doing their findings, and they have their numbers. And that is why they came forward with numbers. They came forward with data that Nigeria has not really been able to counter, you know. So, but let's focus on the letter that Nnamdi Kanu wrote to Donald Trump. This letter is dated November 6th, 2025. And first of all, he started off by extending warm greetings to him in the name of the Judeo-Christian faith and values he says they both hold dear. And then Nnamdi Kanu says, as a practicing Jew and a believer in the Judeo-Christian heritage that shaped Western civilization, I was honored to attend your campaign event in January of 2020. And Kanu says his bold declaration on October 31st, 2025, that the United States is prepared to act militarily and cut aid if Nigeria fails to protect its Christian population, has ignited hope in the hearts of millions who have been abandoned by the world. Nnamdi Kanu went ahead to introduce himself, tell him who he is, and he described himself as the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, a peaceful, non-violent civil rights movement rooted in Judeo-Christian principles. And Kanu says that since 2015, he has survived 4 documented assassination attempts by the Nigerian state. He said on the 20th of June 2021, he was forcibly abducted from Kenya in an extraordinary rendition operation. And he says it is an act that violated Kenyan and international law, as condemned by a Kenyan High Court ruling. Kanu also highlighted that despite this ruling, he was illegally transported to Nigeria and thrown into solitary detention in Abuja without a valid subsisting charge, and for the sole crime of defending his people's right to life, faith, and self-determination under international law. Kanu also says on 13th of October 2022, the Court of Appeal in Abuja discharged and acquitted him of all charges, ruling that his rendition was illegal and unconstitutional and a gross violation of international law. He says the court ordered his immediate and unconditional release, and yet he has remained in solitary detention. Kanu went ahead to, highlight all that he has had to deal with in Nigeria. He says the Nigerian government defied its own judiciary, refusing to release him as ordered. And he says he has never been released, so there was no rearrest, only continued unlawful imprisonment in blatant violation of constitutionally protected double jeopardy safeguards under Section 36, subsection 9 of the 1999 Constitution, right? And Article 7, subsection 2 of the African Charter. So, after highlighting all that he has had to deal with, he went ahead to talk about a hidden genocide against Judeo-Christians in eastern Nigeria. Kanu says the same extremist-backed forces Donald Trump have condemned in the north, like Boko Haram, ISWAP, and Fulani militias, they operate with state complicity in the southeast and Igbo-speaking territories in Benue, Kogi, and Delta, but that the Nigerian military itself is the primary perpetrator, shielded by false narratives that blames victims. So So Kanu is also indicting the Nigerian army. I don't know how this is going to help the situation at this point. For a lot of people, this particular letter is further going to indict the Nigerian government, indict the military, and might hasten whatever it is that the U.S. or whatever intervention for the U.S. says will come to Nigeria. One thing is sure, Nnamdi Kanu is cashing in on this very opportunity. Now, back to the letter. He highlighted the atrocities that, have been documented. He says these atrocities are irrefutably documented. He noted the Biafra Heroes Day massacre that took place on 30th of May of 2016, the National High School Aba massacre of 9th February 2016, the Operation Python dance that took place between 12th to 14th of September of 2017, and then the Obibo massacre that happened October 2020. Kanu also talked about the Port Harcourt Iguacha Trump Solidarity Rally that was 20th of January 2017, right? And he says the architect of these crimes, he called out General Tukur Yusuf Buratai, who is the former chief of army staff. And in 2021, President Buhari appointed him ambassador to Benin, granting him diplomatic immunity to evade ICC prosecution. And according to Kanu, this is a state-sponsored impunity on a genocidal scale. Now, after highlighting the documented atrocities, according to what he calls it, he goes ahead to talk about the weaponization of insecurity to demonize IPOB, right? And he says that since his illegal rendition, Nigeria has declared IPOB a terrorist organization despite zero evidence of violence, as confirmed by U.S. State Department in 2021. He talked about the orchestrated unknown gunmen attacks using state-backed militias, then blamed IPOB. He talks about the over 2,000 Igbo youths killed in counter-terrorism operations. And, he says this is a Rwanda's playbook. Create chaos, blame the victim, and then justify extermination. And he is now calling on Donald Trump to intervene. He says, "You said America will act. Now is the moment. I respectfully urge you to launch a US-led independent inquiry into state-sponsored massacre of Judeo-Christians in eastern Nigeria with full access to mass graves, military logs, and survivor testimonies." Okay? He also says convene emergency congressional hearings on the Igbo Christian genocide featuring the 13th October 2022 Court of Appeal judgment discharging him, Nigeria's defiance of its own constitution, and he says impose targeted Magnitsky Act sanctions, and also support an internationally supervised referendum on self-determination for Igbo people, the only peaceful path to ending this cycle of violence, as affirmed by the African Charter on Human and People's Rights. And in closing, he says, "Mr. President, history will judge us by what we do when genocide knocks. You have the power to stop the second Rwanda in Africa. One tweet, one sanction, one inquiry could save millions. I remain steadfast in peace, faith, and non-violence, even from a prison cell. IPOB rejects every form of violence. We seek only justice, truth, and freedom. May the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who delivered Israel from Pharaoh, grant you wisdom and courage to deliver his people once again." What a dramatic letter. This is what Nnamdi Kanu wrote to Donald J. Trump. I'm going to allow you soak it all in and think about what the implications might be and how this will further aggravate or exacerbate the situation that we already have in Nigeria. If Donald Trump happens to get a hold of this letter, have you thought about what the implications might be? But, this might just be the only way out. But fingers crossed. Tomorrow is another day to look out for as far as Kanu's case is concerned. I'll make sure I keep you updated. This is Political Arena. Join the conversation in the comments. Let me know what you think about this, and I'll see you on the next one.